morning, everyone. Welcome to our Saturday morning practice. We'll be spending the next hour and a half together in what we call the weekly boot camp for mindfulness. I'm sure many of you are paying attention to the walking monks, the monks that are walking for peace. And there are about 20 of them, I think, 18, 20 of them. And no doubt everyone is concerned about their well being since they're walking into a storm, one of the biggest storms predicted for um, decades, actually. And I have to believe that that was planned, right? They knew what they were getting into. They knew that they would be arriving in Washington D.C. in the middle of February, and for those of you who don't know, Washington D.C. basically have the same latitude as the middle of Tokyo, not as north as Hokkaido, which you know is gets a lot of snow in the winter, but even in the north to middle part of Japan, for example, in Niigata, where I plan to go after Chinese New Year in the first week of March. They're having a snowstorm right now, so they had to plan this to know that they would be encountering some really bad weather, but also the terrain. Right now, from Texas to North Carolina, they'll be entering Raleigh tomorrow or maybe day after. It's pretty much flat, but now they're entering into Virginia, and that's going to be very rough. So they're going to have all the elements against them, and people are very worried. People are very concerned about their health and whether or not that's a good thing to do, whether or not maybe they should take a break, wait till the storm is over. I don't think people understood that these monks are kind of nuts. Okay, they're nuts, right? And in the history, there's been a lot of monks for the benefit of mankind to walk through these crazy time, crazy weather, crazy terrain. The most well-known probably is from the journey to the west. I don't know how many of you remember that story about the Monkey King. Well, the Monkey King is actually just a fictional attendant, one of the four attendant for a real person called a Tong monk, who decided that he wants to go to India, where Buddhism was originated, and he had in mind to bring back some sutra. And so the fictional story was the Monkey King, who is one of the four attendant, and Monkey King actually represents one of the four virtues, and Monkey King represents emptiness, a concept that is often misunderstood. But in any case, the other one is the pig. The pig represents sila. Sila is discipline and morality. And then there's another one that carries the baskets, as you know, and he represents he's the only ascetics in the group, and he represents purity. And finally, even the horse is the attendant, and he represents loyalty and dedications and determination. And the Tongma actually has to walk all the way around because he didn't want to cross the Himalayas into India. So he walked all the way around. He started in the western part of China, has to go through a desert where he wouldn't see any life form for a month, right? He had to do that with no water. And then finally, he crosses into what would be now called Kazakhstan, and then he then eventually encountered the Himalayas, but it's the tail end of the Himalayas, and from there he enters into Kashmir, and from Kashmir he comes down through Pakistan and Afghanistan into India, right? And then eventually had to do the same thing back. So we know about these stories. We know about another monk. Actually, it was 100 years before that, lesser known, lesser known, who also did the same travel. Instead of coming back through land, he decided that he would come back through the sea, and so he went down to Sri Lanka and got stranded there because the wind pattern was wrong. The wind patterns are wrong, and he discovered what is called the Agama Sutra. But then eventually he settled to sea, and the story was that he got lost. He got lost at storm, and there is some archaeological record that says that he might end up in the Americas, the Americas. And there are a lot of people who says, well, the Mayans, the Mayan culture is very similar to what the monk would taught them. They know a lot about astrology. I've been to Peru, and so I've seen that with my eye. There's a lot of similarities. There is a lot of similarity in food, right? People think that maybe the tamales were brought in by the monks. That's how they would wrap the rice. But in any case, these are very famous monks in the history of Buddhism that took the hard path, the difficult path, going through storm, going through desert, walking long distance without any support, just to bring Dharma to those who need it, like us. There's even a more famous monk in a lifetime. In a lifetime. Do you all know him? You all know him. That's Dalai Lama. In the late 50s, 10 years after the communists took over China, where they originally promised Tibet to be a autonomous region, promised religious freedom, they relent and they started to persecuting the lamas. And so Dalai Lama brought his whole clan, and they actually have to cross the Himalayas and then descend into India. So we know a lot about these stories. That's not to say that we're not worried about them, but I think we need to understand that in historical context of the power of our existence, the power of existence. And that's what we're trying to say here is that we need to understand that our existence is not just a physical existence. It's not just this body that we eventually have to return to planet Earth. We borrow it. Every single cell in our body was borrowed, right? But beyond the physical existence, there's actually the spiritual existence. And the bridge between the spiritual existence and the physical existence is what we call the chi, the energy. So let's start with the practice today. Our practice today is about chi. Chi has two interpretations. One is just the air that we breathe. So today we're going to practice what's called a pranayama, one of the 8 limbs of the yogic practice, how to breathe with our diaphragm. And once you know how to breathe with a diaphragm, actually, let me rephrase that. Once you relearn how to breathe with a diaphragm, because we used to breathe with a diaphragm when we were born, before we were born, inside a mother's womb, we knew how to use the diaphragm because that was what allows us to get the nutrients into our body. And the first thing we did when we were born is we take a deep breath. And when we took a deep breath, the only muscle that we had was a diaphragm. We didn't have any other muscle. That's why we couldn't walk. Human beings is the only one, if not one of the few species that couldn't walk. We couldn't even roll in the bed because we had no muscle. But yet we have this one muscle, this one thing called the diaphragm. And if you ever watch a baby sleep, you will notice that their stomach moves because they breathe with the diaphragm. And so we want to return to that. We want to return to that and restore the harmony in our body, which meant peace. So when the monks said that they're walking for peace, they are walking for harmony. Harmony in the body, the harmony between our physical existence and our spiritual existence, the harmonies between the chi. One is the masculine, energetic, and one is the feminine, which is the restorative. The harmony between us and our neighbors, harmony between us and the other species that coexist in the planet Earth. So I want you to come back to this body. We often misunderstood what these monks are doing. Some people now call them the moving monastery because they're actually practicing as they walk. They're practicing mindfulness in motion. So we can also practice mindfulness in motion by using our exercise. But before that, let's practice mindfulness in still form. Let's practice mindfulness by stretching our body, putting this in the proper form. Let's locate the bottom of our spine. Let's move up the spine one joint at a time. And as you move up, I want you to stretch the spine. Stretch as hard as you can towards the top of your head. Stretch until it hurts. Then I want you to lift up the shoulder. Lift it up as high as you can, as if you're bringing the shoulder to your ears. Then I want you to lean back the upper torso. And while you're doing that, I want you to open that shoulder as if you're squeezing a tennis ball in the back. And then I want you to drop that shoulder and then relax the upper torso. Relax your entire body. Now we're going to be doing some joint exercise, starting with the joints in the upper part of the body, and then eventually, when we get down on the floor, the joints in the lower part of the body. The joints that we'll be working on are the wrists, so I want you to focus on the wrist. And then it will be the elbow. I want you to focus on the elbow. And then eventually it get to be the shoulder. I want you to focus on the shoulder. Now we're going to do some joint exercise now, starting with the wrist. I want you to focus on the center of your palm, mind, body together. I want you to bring up your hands while focusing on the center of your palm. Bring it up as high as you can, up to your shoulder level. I want you to focus on the wrist, and then I want you to turn the wrist. Now it's important that as you turn the wrist, you visualize these monks walking. Each turn is like each step. They take one step at a time. The reason why they are able to walk such a long distance and maintain their vitality, and they can walk in such a long distance and endure the pain and the suffering of the body, is that each step is a practice. Just like when we turn our wrist, each turn is a practice. A great part of the practice is the practice determination. When they start a step, their mind says, I am determined to follow through one step, two step. As you turn your wrist, I want you to practice determination. At the beginning, I want you to call to your mind. Check to see if your mind is on your wrist or is it somewhere else. It's natural that your mind is somewhere else. That's what human beings like to do. So if your mind is somewhere else, I want you to call to your mind. Make sure that your mind is actually on the wrist. And once it's on the wrist, I want you to follow through from the beginning to the end. Now we're going to turn the other way, again, focusing on the wrist. And every beginning of the turn, just like the monks, every beginning of the steps, they practice what is called the determination parami. Parami is virtual, virtual, virtual. Just like when I talk about the Monkey King, the four attendants to the tall monks represents the four virtues. And this is where you practice your parami. At the beginning, you practice your determination. Now I want you to lower your hand, bring it down, and then back to the spine again. Stretch the spine, lift up the shoulder, lean back, open the shoulder, relax the body. I want you to focus on the center of your palm again, bring it back up. Now we're moving from the wrist to the elbow. Once again, as you turn your elbow, recognize that each turn has a beginning and an end. I mentioned how you practice determination parami in the beginning of your turn. Now you need to practice what is called diligence in the end of your turn. Just like the monks, every step starts with determination, every step finishes with diligence. So they can continue one step at a time, one step at a time, practicing mindfulness in motion. Now I want you to turn. And as you turn, I want you to go to the next step, which is once you start turning, I want you to focus on your elbow and start to examine the change in your body. See if there's any pain, any sweat, any numbness in your elbow. All right, now we're going to bring it down. We went from the wrist to the elbow. Now it's time for the shoulder. Back to the spine again. Lift up the spine, open the shoulder, lean back, relax. Back to the center of your palm. Bring up your hand. Cross your hand this time. Follow your hand. Bring it in front of you. Bring it on top of you. Now I want you to point your fingers towards the ceiling. I want you to stretch your entire body towards the ceiling as hard as you can. And before you come down, I want you to focus on the center of your palm. You open the shoulder, you point your palms outward. You feel the pain on your shoulder. You let go of the pain. You come back to the center of your palm. You remain focused, practicing mindfulness. Stretch, open, feel the pain on your shoulder. Let go of that pain. Just like the monks, every step is painful. Every step is a challenge, but yet they're able to go on because they feel the pain, they accept the pain, and then they let go of the pain. They never let that pain becomes the suffering. They don't get attached to the pain. They don't get. They don't react negatively to the pain. Open the shoulder. Feel the pain on your shoulder. Let go of the pain. Come back to the center of your palm. One more time. Stretch. Open. Feel the pain. Let go of the pain. Now we're going to go the other way. Open the shoulder. We're doing exactly what the monks is doing. This is a monastery in motion. We're practicing mindfulness while we're moving. Bring it back down. Open the shoulder. Bring it up. Stretch. Bring it back down. One more time. Open the shoulder. Stretch. And then bring it back down. Now we're going to go from front to back. So I want you to come back to the spine again. Stretch the spine. Lift up the shoulder. Open the shoulder. Lean back. And then relax. Focus on the center of your palm again. Bring it up. Following the center of your palm in front of you, on top of you. Now get ready. Bring it as far back as you can. Feel the pain on your shoulder. Accept that pain. Let go of the pain. The pain is already gone. The pain is already gone. If you get attached to that pain, it becomes suffering. You don't want to suffer. This is the whole point about relieving the suffering. Relieve your suffering by understanding where that suffering comes from. Open the shoulder, feel the pain on your shoulder, let go of the pain. One more time. Open the shoulder, feel the pain, accept that pain, let go of the pain. Now we're going to go back to front, all the way back, bring it up, stretch, bring it back down, all the way back, stretch, and then bring it back down, all the way back, stretch, and then bring it back down, all the way back one last time, and then stretch, and then bring it back down. We'll continue practicing mindfulness. I call mindfulness anchoring. Anchor your mind on your body when you're moving, whether you're walking like the monks, or you're doing exercise, or you're working in the kitchen, right? You're working in the kitchen, you're preparing your breakfast. You need to practice mindfulness too. All right? You practice mindfulness all day. You actually do more walking and moving around than you do sitting and standing. So you don't want to just practice mindfulness when you're sitting. That's only one of the four postures that human beings are capable of. Human beings is the only species, maybe one of the very few, that knows all four postures. We know how to stand, we know how to walk, we know how to lie down, we know how to sit. So let's practice mindfulness in all of those four postures. But keep in mind that when you're moving, whether you're walking or you're doing exercise, you anchor your mind on your body. But then when you're sitting like we do now, or when we stand, which we do later, or when we do lie down meditation, then you anchor your mind on your breath. So once again, let's back to the spine, starting from the bottom of your spine. Move up the spine, stretch the spine towards the ceiling. Lift up your shoulder, lean back, open your shoulder, and then relax. And now it's time to anchor our mind on the breath, starting with knowing. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. So the first thing you notice is that after energetic exercise, your breath is very rushed. And that says that your mind is very rushed. And your mind is very rushed, meaning that you were actually in fight or flight. Because even when you do exercise, your mind doesn't know. It thinks that it goes back to millions and tens of hundreds of millions of years ago when we're living in a cave. The only time that we get excited is when we're in danger. So it's trying to protect you by releasing stress hormone. The stress hormone is very good for you because it is there to heal you, it is there to relieve you from inflammation. But you need to restore the harmony. And so it's very important that after you did an energetic exercise, you come back and you said, I just want to feel my breath. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. And then you notice that your breath start to slow down, which means that your mind is starts to slow down. And when your mind starts to slow down, then you are in what we call the rest and digest. And the first thing you will notice is that you will start to notice the wetness inside your mouth. And that is the key to your health. Because when you're in the fight or flight, the first thing it does is that it turns off the saliva gland. You don't need any more slivers when you're being chased by lions because the slivers is the is the signal to the rest of your body to start your digestion, start your immunity, and basically to start your reproduction, right? And so that's why we often people in the West we have very dry mouth. We have to drink lots of water because we're constantly in fight or flight. And no wonder we have bad health. And so you need to learn that. You need to really pay attention to self hydration. And so once you come back, focus on your breath, one breath at a time, you will start to notice inside your mouth is quite wet. In fact, when we meditate, we often have a hard time keeping up with the saliva. Okay. All right. So let's go back to the exercise. We're going to do 3 exercises. We're going to continue to practice. Um, we're going to continue to practice one of the 4 foundations of mindfulness, the one that I talked about, and which is the monk, which is what the monk is doing when they walk, is the mindfulness of the sensation, mindfulness of the body, and understanding that the sensation can be pleasant and can be unpleasant, but both can cause suffering. You might think, oh, how can the pleasant sensation cause suffering? Well, the pleasant sensation doesn't stay forever. It will eventually be gone. And then you will get attached to that, and that's suffering too, right? So, 4 foundation of mindfulness. One is the foundation of sometimes called feeling. I don't like to use the word feeling because feeling means that you assign weight to it, right? I feel bad. You hurt my feeling, right? That has to do with your thinking mind. This is called the intellect. But the rest of your body is your intelligence. This is only a small part of your intelligence. So it's important that you come back to the spine. And so I like to use the word sensation. Feel it, but don't judge it. Don't try to um, develop uh, any attachment or aversion. Just feel it as it is, right? And that's why the monk says, he says, look, the source of suffering is simple. The source of suffering is number one, don't do any multitasking, right? You say, whoa, what do you mean don't do any multitasking? I thought multitasking is one of our key competitive advantage. Well, that's a, that, that's actually not true. Your mind is not capable of multitasking. So by saying that you're doing multitasking just means that you're not even doing one thing right. And so you have to develop this idea that multitasking is not good. So if I'm in the kitchen cutting vegetable, that's what I'm going to focus on. If I'm going to take care of my dying father, that's what I'm going to focus on. Everything else is not important. Everything else is either in the past and in the future anyway. I want to focus on the present. No more multitasking, right? I call it unitasking, one thing at a time. If I'm going to focus on my breath, I focus on my breath. If I'm going to focus on my body, I focus on my body. If I'm going to focus on cleaning the kitchen, I do that one thing at a time, right? And we all understand that. That's the whole point about empathy. People don't know what empathy is. They often confuse that with compassion. Empathy is a practice. Empathy is I feel you. That's in the English language. I really, really feel you because I'm here. I'm not judging you. I'm not trying to solve your problem. I'm just here, right? So the first thing you need to learn to avoid suffering is stop multitasking. That's what the monk says. The second thing he says, he's even more profound. He says, all exhortation leads to suffering. I'll leave that for later. Okay? That's very profound. All right, so let's continue the exercise, and we're going to continue to practice what we call the mindfulness of the sensation. The mindfulness, that practice is very simple, right? I want you to feel the pain. Feeling means that sensation, right? That's the body, using the body to feel it, not the thinking mind. Feel the something, feel the pain, which means that you have to confront your pain. That's the key. That's the key, right? Buddhist practice is actually very proactive. It's very proactive. It says confront it. Don't run away from it. The world is falling apart. People are fighting each other. You can't just run to the mountains and think that that is the end of your suffering. You have to confront it. So we're going to learn how to confront it. Confront means that I'm going to feel it. I'm right here. I'm feeling it. But once you feel it, then you have to accept it. If you can change it, you change it. If you can't change it, you accept it. Once you accept it, then you have to let it go. You can't carry that with you. It's too much baggage. There's just too much baggage. We need to let them go. We need to let them go to finally relieve ourselves of suffering. We're going to continue with that, okay? So for now, let's just do one more joint exercise. But the difference between this one and the one earlier is we're going to be using one hand at a time, which means that we are switching from one side of the brain to the other. And this is the key to acceptance. He says sometimes the pain is rational, sometimes the pain is emotional. And perhaps we can learn to deal with emotional pain logically and deal with logical pain emotionally. Maybe that is the key. Let's try that. Stretch your body, open the shoulder, lean back, relax. Let's put the left hand in front, stretch out the right hand. Now we're going to focus on the right hand, which means that we're using a left brain. We're going to move the right hand in front, making a nice big circle. And then we're going to bring the hand back as far back as you can. We're going to confront that pain. We're going to feel it. And then we're going to accept it. And then we're going to let it go by switching from the left brain to the right brain, focusing on the left hand. We're going to bring that around. Open the shoulder again. Feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Right hand, left brain. Feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Left hand, all the way around. Feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Right hand, left brain. Feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Sit up straight, all the way around. Feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Two more times. Right hand. Feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Left hand, one last time. Feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Back to the breathing. One breath at a time. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Now, the breath is very magical. You don't actually have to slow down your breath. You just say, I know that I'm breathing in. As if you're whispering to yourself, I know I'm breathing in. Just whisper to yourself. And then you notice magically the breath slows down, your mind slows down. You feel the inside of your mouth. And now you're back to rest and digest. No more stress hormone. Stress hormone was good while it lasted because it heals your body. But too much is no good. Too much means that you develop what's called cortisol resistance. You're no longer sensitive to your own healing agent, and that's why your body inflames one breath at a time. Okay? All right, so let's continue. We're going to do one more exercise. The next two actually prepare us for our meditation, a sitting meditation, right? And we talk about letting go. And the first thing you have to learn is how to relax. You can't let go when you're being chased by the lion. That's silly. So letting go means that you have to come back to the comfort of your um, rest and digest. Okay, so we're going to learn how to do that. But first, we're going to do some energetic exercise because it's all about harmony. It's not about one or the other. It's all about maintaining the harmony between the yin and the yang. The yin is away from the sun. That's when you're in the cave. That's when you're in rest and digest. The yang is when you're under the sun, when you're encountering danger, and that's energetic. That's fight or flight. You have to maintain that harmony, right? So if you have too much rest and digest, and you cannot activate your fight or flight, then you don't even know how to jump away when the bus is coming towards you, right? So fight or flight is a survival instinct. It's how we survive, right? And rest and digest is a healing instinct. The two are important. All right. So next exercise is very energetic, but again, it's mindfulness in motion. So even though it looks like we're just using a body, we're actually using a body and a mind together. So come back to the spine, stretch the spine, lift up the shoulder, lean back, relax the shoulder. Now let's bring up a right hand, focus on the center of your palm, make a fist. Get ready, aim for the upper corner. Feel the vibration coming back to your shoulder. Up, come back, down, down, sit up straight, up, up. Follow the fist, feel the vibration, down, one last time, up, up, down, down. Now use both hands, follow both fists and feel the vibration. Get ready, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, now that was energetic, right? So you just came back from the office meeting. You're being yelled at by someone. And you need to say, well, I need to restore my harmony. Okay, the next one is to restore your harmony. How do you restore your harmony? Well, you activate the rest and digest. The most important part of the rest and digest is the vagus nerve, right? We all know that. The vagus nerve is one of the 10 neurological systems in the body, and it actually starts from the back of the ear down the neck through our shoulder all the way into the back and then into your stomach and is connected with all of the internal organs. It's one of the longest nerve systems. That's why we call it the vagus nerve, which means wandering around. All right, so let's learn how to activate that. Now, I noticed that on Amazon there are if you look up vagus nerve, you can buy lots of toys to put in the back of the ear to activate the vagus nerve. I'll show you a simpler one, right? All right, so let's come back to the spine, a faithful spine stretch. Let's lift up our shoulder and then let's open the shoulder as back as we can. And then we're going to take a thumb, put that in front of the shoulder. We're going to roll up all 4 fingers. Now, I want you to pay attention to your elbow. This comes in 4 parts. I want you to lift up your elbow. And as you lift up your elbow, you notice that everything is up. The shoulder, the upper torso, everything is up as high as you can. And then continue to focus on the elbow. As you point your elbow back, you notice that you're opening your shoulder. And you open as wide as you can. And then as you point your shoulder down, you notice that your entire body is relaxed. And then finally, when you point your elbow forward, you're looking down. Now from here, we're going to come up, following the elbow, looking straight ahead, open, and then down until your elbow is pointing forward again. And as you come up, I want you to close your mouth And very gently take a deep breath. Don't stop until your shoulders are open. And then as you come down, I want you to breathe out. Now, I don't want you to force your breath. I just want you to breathe in naturally and breathe out naturally. This is all about relaxation, right? Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Two more times. Breathe in, breathe out. One last time. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay? Now we're going to continue. We're going to meditate. Now, when you meditate on the breath. And that's actually another elements of the four foundation of mindfulness. And it's typically called mindfulness of the body, except that in Pali is mindfulness of your your kaya. Kaya is not just the body; it's actually the existence of your body. So it's the totality of your body, and basically focusing on the how your body is going through the cycle of life. And we all know the cycle of life starts when we're born, and then eventually we come to the end of a cycle of life. But actually, that represents a breath. Everyone, all babies, when they were born, they take a deep breath in. And when they're finally done with this earth, they take a deep breath out. So the breath actually symbolizes our existence. In fact, one can argue that the big cycle of life consists of billions and billions of cycles of life, and each one is a breath. And that's what we're trying to do, is try to understand our existence through our breath. Now I want you to come back to the body first. Divide the body into 7 parts. First are your legs. Now we sit like a bell. So you have to imagine that your legs are like the pedestal for your bell. It needs to be like the foundation. You can sit on a chair. Many of my students sit on the chair. But when you sit on the chair, you want to make sure that your feet are not dangling. They're in fact touching the ground. I prefer a piece of carpet so you're not getting cold. But make sure that your chair is just the right height so the bottom of your feet are right below your knee and not in front of your knee or not behind your knee, just right below your knee. So you're sitting nice and square. And if you sit like I do on a yoga mat, then you want to make sure that you're not using any of your leg muscle. So you put some pillows and blankets below your knee, below your thigh to give some support. Then comes to your hands. We don't need to do any hand gesture, any mudra. Just relax. We really just want to relax. Now come to our old friend, our spine. That's the third part, most important part. Again, start at the very bottom of your spine. Walk up the spine and stop at each joint and stretch as if you're increasing the distance between the joint. You continue to go up and continue to stretch the spine until you get to the very top of your head. And then I want you to lean back. Now, as you lean back, I want you to register one feeling, and that feeling is the lightness in your body as you lean back. Because you're putting the weight of your upper torso on your spine, and you're not using any back muscle anymore. Something that you're not used to. And so I want you to feel that lightness. And remember what happens when you remove baggages. When you stretch your spine and lean back, you're actually removing the weight of your upper torso. These are extra baggage. And when you remove extra baggage from your physical existence, you feel lightness. Later on, we're going to learn how to remove the baggages from our mental existence. Same thing. You would also feel lightness. And then now I want you to focus on your shoulder, lift up your shoulder, and then open the shoulder as far back as you can, and then relax the shoulder. Now I want you to lean back the forehead, put the ears on top of the shoulder. Again, you feel lightness because you're putting the weight of the head on top of your upper torso, on top of your spine. You're not using your neck muscle anymore. And then finally, I want you to tuck in the chin slightly so the top of the head is on top of your spine. And then now we get to the last, the second to the last, which are eyelids. I want you to close your eye, but imagine the eyelids are like the shades. So you lower the shades, but you don't try to shut your eye. Just relax your eyelid. If you ever seen a baby sleep, they relax the eyelid, but they don't shut it. You can actually, if you look carefully, you can see the eyeballs. Sometimes you think that they're pretending to sleep. They're not. It's when they shut their eye that they're pretending to sleep. So just relax your eyelid. You can even see some light coming through your eyelashes. That's perfect. And lastly is the tip of your tongue. I want you to put that inside the teeth, where the teeth meets the roof of your mouth, and close your mouth. This puts you in the rest of the digest, and you immediately feel the wetness inside your mouth. So this is our sitting posture. So we're going to try to maintain this posture. The first part is just a basic training. The basic training is about focusing on your breath, understanding that you're breathing in, understanding that you're breathing out. You can feel the change in your body when you breathe in. You can feel the change of your body when you breathe out. Now, most of us have what we call the monkey mind. It likes to be somewhere else. So every time you breathe in, you check to see if your mind is actually focused on your breath. If it is not, which is very natural, then you need to invite your mind back. And when you invite back, you just have to make the commitment of one breath. No more, one breath. And then when you finish your one breath, you check your mind again. Okay? All right, now we do that all through our practice. But right now, we're back to knowing that we're breathing. I know that I'm breathing in. I know that I'm breathing out. Now you go from knowing to what I call anchoring, which is mindfulness. And this is when you focus on your belly button. And when you know that you're breathing in, let's try to relax the stomach as if you're pointing the belly button forward. And when you know that you're breathing out, let's try to bring back your stomach as if you're bringing the belly button back. It's very important that you do this while you relax, because otherwise the diaphragm is not going to follow you. The diaphragm is viscoelastic. The harder that you try, the harder it pushes back. So just relax. That's why babies know how to use it and we don't, because we start to accumulate stress. Babies have no stress except when they're hungry or when they want to change their diapers. And that's become stressful to them. But the rest of the time, they're very relaxed. So let's relax, but follow our breath, anchor on the belly button. When we know that we're breathing in, relax the stomach, point the belly button forward. When we know that we're breathing out, point the belly button back. Okay? All right, so let's sit for 5 minutes. Okay. All right. So that was just a practicing the sensation of your breathing by understanding that if you could move your breathing from your muscle, your upper part of your chest, to the diaphragm, which is really therefore, which brings a lot of health benefit. Um, that was just a basic training. And so now I want you to continue to pay focus, to pay attention to your breath, but let go of your belly button now. And just feel that you're breathing in, feel that you're breathing out. And notice that perhaps you don't, even without trying, your stomach actually moves. Maybe it moves slightly open when you breathe in, maybe it moves slightly closed when you breathe out. Now you say, no, I don't feel anything. That's okay. Later on, when we do the practice, the breathing practice, it will help. But for now, just stay focused on your breath. But we're going to coordinate our breathing with our posture. So I want you to focus now on the lower part of your spine. And since you know that you're breathing in, I want you to move up the spine, stretch the spine towards the ceiling until you get to the top of your head. And then when you breathe out, I want you to go from the top of your head to your forehead, to your nose, to your tongue, towards the belly button. And as you do that, I want you to lean back and relax. When you breathe in, stretch the spine. When you breathe out, lean back and relax. Now, once again, I want you to feel how your body gets lighter because you're letting go of the baggage on your body by putting the weight of your upper torso on your spine and not using your back muscle. Now, I want you to think about what would happen if you let go of the baggage on your mind. I'm sure many of you follow the monks, the walking monks. You notice that the head monks now, on the left hand, he has a walking stick. And on the right hand, he has something that looks like some leaves, maybe feathers, maybe like something that he would use to brush the dust off something, right? Something that he puts on the right hand. Now, that's very symbolic. Very often they will use leaves. Very often they would actually carry a jar of water and then they dip the leaves into the water. So you notice the head monster, he uses that as a blessing. He would wave to the people with his fan-like thing. Sometimes he even used it to touch people, touch the top of the head. So that's very symbolic. He's actually not only a blessing, but he's symbolically touching, sprinkling you with holy water, water that has been blessed to cleanse you of your suffering. Now I want you to imagine that because we've been paying attention to these monks. I want you to pay attention to that. And when you breathe in, you go from the bottom of your spine towards the top of the head. When you breathe out, you lean back and you feel the lightness in your body, which is a reminder that it's time to relieve the luggage on the baggage on your mind, all the anxiety, all the shame, all the guilt, all the hate, all the suffering that you have that is buried deep inside your mind. Maybe it's time to relieve them. So I want you to think about the head monk using his thing on the right hand, dipping into holy water, which he's not doing because it's not convenient, but they would do that in the temple. But I want you to imagine the holy water sprinkling on top of your head as if the water is coming down, relieving, washing off your suffering, washing off your baggage in your mind. You actually feel the holy water inside your mouth. And then as you come down, imagine there's a pond at the very bottom and it's washing off all the debris, all the baggage into the bottom of your pond. And then you just let it settle in the pond. Don't touch it. This is your lotus pond. The lotus pond, the bottom of the pond is full of mud. Leave it. Don't touch it. Let it go. And then when you breathe in again, stretch your spine towards the ceiling. And when you breathe out, lean back, feel the lightness in your body. Remind yourself it is time to let go. Visualize the head monk sprinkling holy water on your top of your head. Let the water wash out all your negative energy or your anxiety or your guilt and just let it wash all the way down to the bottom of your pond and keep it there and then back again. All right, let's try that for 5 minutes. It's a very good therapy. Just relax and then let it go. Okay, all right. So let's continue with the exercise. We're going to do a little bit of stretching. All right. Now, so I talked about the 8 limbs of yoga. We're going to be doing pranayama, which is the exercise of the breathing. Here we're doing the exercise of the body, the posture. So you might think, well, that's nothing like what we practice here, right? When we practice yoga, it doesn't look anything like what you do. Well, it doesn't matter. There's so many ways of practicing your body, right? They all fall under the umbrella called asana. It's just that what we practice in the States is called hatha yoga. It's a particular branch of the yoga practice. Here we focus more on the yang side, the sun, the part of our body that is facing the sun. So that would be in the back, including the spine. That would be on the outside of the arm. That would be on the outside of the body. All right. Now let's understand the difference between yin and yang again. Yin is restorative. So when we're inside the womb, a mother's womb, we are being incubated with what is called the yin energy, and that's why the organs uh, are also separate in the yin and yang. So the organs that we need to develop when we're inside a mother's womb, when we're being protected by the yin energy, are the heart, the lung, the kidney, the splint, and then finally the liver, right? Those are things that you must have. The rest are being supported by your mother. And the yang organs are the small intestines, the large intestines, the bladder, the stomach, and then there's one more I think I forgot. But anyway, all those you don't need. All those you don't need because they're being supported. You're being supported by your mom. But then you have to develop them in order to be viable. So when you were born, you were full of everything that you need. And so the yang part is very important. The yang part is really your vitality. And so one of the things that happens as we age is that yang energy, the, the energetic energy diminishes. And so we want to make that up. And so this next set of exercise really make up for our deficiency on the yang side. Okay. All right. So, but we're going to take 3 deep breaths first. So I want you to sit properly again. You know how to do that now. Stretch your spine, lift up your shoulder, lean back, open your shoulder, relax. I want you to take your hands, lock your fingers, put that in front of your belly button. I want you to follow the center of your palm as you breathe in all the way to the nose. Okay, get ready. Relax first because you want to use your diaphragm. Relax and then breathe in. Now turn your hand, follow your hand, breathe out. Push, lock your elbow, looking straight ahead again. Unlock your fingers, lock your elbow as if you're climbing a mountain, stretching the outer part, the upper outer part of your arm. And then once again, relax, take a deep breath, breathe in, breathe out, lock your elbow, push as if you're climbing the mountain. And then one last time, breathe in, breathe out, lock your elbow, and then climb the mountain. Okay, now we're going to do 3 more, but this time will be a little bit different. So again, lock your fingers sitting straight up, turn your hands so the palm facing down, gently push until you lock your elbow. Follow the center of your palm, bring it up in front of you, on top of you, lock your elbow. Okay, now lean back slightly so you're forming a straight line between the bottom of your spine, the top of your head, and the center of your palm. And then I want you to push the ceiling, stretching your spine as hard as you can. I want you to lean back and then come back to the middle. And once again, push. And then the entire upper torso, we're stretching the spine all the way to the left. Come back, push all the way to the right. Come back, push all the way to the left. Come back, and then one last time, push all the way to the right. And then come back. I want you to stay focused on the center of your palm. Bring down your hand. Open your shoulder again. Lean back. Relax. Take your right hand, put that on your left shoulder. Lean back your forehead so you're putting pressure on the right shoulder. Take your left hand, grab the right elbow. Sit up straight and then stretch to the left. Again, we're stretching the spine. Come back, sit up straight. Changing hand, lean back the forehead so you're pushing on your left shoulder. Grab your left elbow and then lean to the right. And then come back. Back to your breath. Every time you are energetic, you want to come back and be restorative, maintaining the harmony. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Now open your shoulder again. Lean back, relax. Taking your left hand, palm facing forward up. Taking your right hand, put that between your finger and your palm. Sit up straight. Bring down your left hand and focus on your left elbow. Push the elbow out. Lock the elbow, looking straight ahead. Bring up your left hand until the palm is facing forward about eye level. Sit up straight. Now do not turn your upper torso. Just take your left hand and bring it to the right, all the way. And then come back, locking your elbow. And then relax. Open your shoulder. Relax. Taking your left hand, palm facing up. Taking your right hand, palm facing up. Bring down your right hand. Lock. Push out your elbow. Straight up. Locking your elbow. Without turning the upper body, take the right hand, bring it to the left, and then come back, and then relax. Open your shoulder again, relax. Right hand this time, facing up, left hand facing down. Open your shoulder, wrist at 90 degrees, focus on the center of your right palm, push as if you're pushing the sky. Now focus on the center of your left palm, push as if you're pushing down the earth. All right. Now take your right hand, lean back, and then turn your head gently to the left until you get to the shoulder. Keep turning your eyeball as if you're looking at your back. Bring back everything and then relax. Now the other side, open your shoulder, push, lock your elbow. Right hand, push, lock your elbow. Lean back the left hand, turn your head to the right, and then turn your eyeballs to the back. Bring back everything and then relax. Now we're going to stretch the spine. Sit up straight, open your shoulder, lean back, relax. Take your hands, lock the fingers, palm facing up, put that on your lower back. Okay, now turn your hands so that the palm's facing down. Push until you lock your elbow. Now focus on the center of your palm and the top of your head at the same time. Push your hand down, but stretch your body so that the heads are towards the ceiling and the palm is towards the floor. Stretch your spine as hard as you can and then relax. Now lean back the forehead so you're looking at the ceiling, 45 degrees. Now focus on the center of your palm, bring that up. And then relax back to the breath. One breath at a time. Now open your shoulder again, lean back. Take your right hand, put that on your back. Lean back so you're looking straight ahead. Now take your right shoulder and stretch. And relax. Now do the same thing with the left hand. Stretch. And then relax. Back to the breath. One breath at a time. Now open your shoulders, sit up straight. Take your right hand, back of the hand at the lower back. 2 fingers pointing to the left shoulder. Bring your right shoulder down and your fingers up. And then relax. Now the other side. Sit up straight. Bring your left shoulder down and your fingers up. And then take the right hand, touching your fingers. Look straight ahead. 2 shoulders. Right shoulder up, left shoulder down. And then relax. Now take the other hand. Looking straight ahead, left shoulder up, right shoulder down, and then relax. Back to the breath. One last thing, I call this the reverse Buddha. Open your shoulder, lean back, relax. Now take your hand, palm touching, fingers pointing down, put that on your lower back. Now turn your fingers so that the fingers are pointing up. Bring it up slightly, sit up straight, palm touching, and then bring it up as high as you can. And try to keep the palm touching each other. Now open your shoulder and then push your palm forward. One back, one forward. Maintain that pressure. Focus on your breath, one breath at a time. And then relax. Continue to focus on your breath. Slow down your breathing. Okay, all right. So let's get onto the floor now. And first, we're going to continue with the joint exercise. So we were working on the wrist, the elbow, and the shoulder. Now we need to work on the heel, the knee, and the hip, right? Okay, so first the knee. So put the knee, one, very slowly, very mindfully, two, three, four, and five. Now the other way, one, very mindfully, two, three, four, and five. Now to the heel, okay? Now right heel first, heels up, one, two, three, four, and five. The other way, one, two, three, four, and five. Now to the left, one, two, three, four, and five. The other way, one, two, three, four, and five. Now to the toes. We're going to stand on the bottom of the feet. We're going to open the shoulder. We're going to lean back the forehead, tuck in the chin. We're going to lock our eyes towards the front. Okay, don't look down. Just keep your eyes looking forward to maintain balance. Now stand on your toes. And then come down, impact your heels gently. Do that on the carpet, okay? Not on the hard floor. Second time. One last time. Okay, now the next one might be difficult for some of you. You need the ability to maintain balance, but if you can, your chance of having dementia diminishes. And so you first put the weight on your left foot. Then you lift up your right foot and you maintain balance, looking straight ahead. Now you focus on the heel on your right foot and you go one, two, and three. Now you lean back to the right side, okay? And then you gently lift up your left foot, maintaining balance, and you go one, and two, and three, okay? Now to the hip. It's very important that we maintain flexibility of the hip. It's the only mechanism in the body to restore ourselves when you're in the process of falling, right? So if you don't want to fall, which you don't want to do as you age, then you need to make sure that the hip is flexible. And you do that by, first of all, putting the weight on the right foot, taking your hands, follow your hand, bring it back to your left foot. Notice that I lift up my toes, okay? Now you form a straight line between the heel, your knee, your hip, and your shoulder, and you turn on that line. Keep turning, keep turning. You say, I can't turn anymore. Keep turning until you can't, you really can't. Okay, that's okay. Then you come back and you relax. Okay, second time. Now what you want to do is you want to make sure that you turn on the hip. You don't bend, you don't try to use any of this. That's why it's important to have the straight line. Okay, you ready? Turn. You're turning on your hip. And then forward. Once again. And then forward. Okay? Now, let's do that on the other side. Bring it to the right. Form that straight line. Turn. Forward. Relax. Back again. Turn. Forward. And then relax one last time. Turn. Forward. And relax. Okay? So we're running out of time, but let's continue with our practice. Okay? All right, so now the next set of practice is very important to really activate your diaphragm. But the exercise designed so you don't have to think about it, just follow. Okay? The only thing you have to do is maintain mindfulness by anchoring your mind on the center of your palm. Bring it up, bring it towards yourself, bring it down, lower your knee, stand up again, breathe in, breathe out, relax, breathe in, breathe out. One last time, breathe in, breathe out. Now breathe in, now cross your hand, put that high enough so you can see it, and then breathe out so you can actually see it with your corner of your eye all the way out. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Don't stop in the middle, all the way out, and then breathe in again, breathe out. One last time, breathe in, breathe out, back, breathe in, and then breathe out. Okay, so now we're going to do standing meditation for 1 minute. And once again, I want you to focus on your breath, one breath at a time. And again, there's a beginning and an end. The beginning is when you practice your determination, just like the monks, okay? One step at a time. And then when you finish, that's where you practice your diligence. You say, I'm going to do it one more time, okay? One step at a time, one breath at a time. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Okay? All right. So most important message from the monks is that you don't have to look for peace. You're not looking for peace. They're not looking for peace. The peace is from within. All you have to do is to anchor your mind so you're not right. Okay. So the next one is called balloon breathing. And so we lean back so the toes are pointing upward and we're looking straight ahead. So we're looking at the ceiling 45 degrees. We bring up our hands high enough so I can see with the corner of my eye. And as I roll forward, I embrace the heel is up. I'm looking down now. And then open it again. As I move forward, I take a very gentle breath in. As I open, I breathe out, all the way out. Relax. Okay. Now, just let the body breathe in. Okay, you breathe out, and then let the body breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe out. One last time. Breathe out. Okay, lower your hand. Back to the standing. Complete attention to your breath. One breath at a time. As if you're putting coins in the piggy bank, right? One coin at a time. Okay, now left side. Get ready. Breathe in very gently. Breathe out. Don't stop. Don't stop. All the way out. And then gently breathe in again. breathe out, in, out, in, out. Okay, one last time. In, out. Roll your hand. Come back. Focus on your breath. One breath at a time. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Okay, now we're going to do the next one called the butterfly. Okay, now stand, follow your hand. It's very simple. And then follow your hand down, lower your knee. Follow your hand again. This time, raise your heel until the back of the hand is touching. As you come down, take a breath, gently breathe in, and then breathe out. Don't stop all the way out until the back of the hand is touching. And then as you come down, breathe in, breathe out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Okay, one last time. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, lower your hand, and then another 1 minute of standing meditation. Okay. Now the next one's called push hand, and it's all these exercises. It's not just about breathing; it's about meditation, but it's also about cycling the life energy inside of you, and that's why we, in the beginning, and then also before this, we do a lot of joint exercise: the wrist, the elbow, the shoulder, the heel, the knee, and then the rib, the hip. We're going to be using all of that right here, and that's why it was important that we unblock the blockage, clear the blockage. And so I want you to just stand like this, but imagine there is a water wheel in front of you. And I want you to focus on the center of your palm. You bring your hand up as if you're gliding on the outside of the water wheel, all the way to the top. And then you come down and you lower your body, sitting as if you're sitting on your right foot. And then you look straight ahead, you see the center of the water wheel, and you push. As you come up, you open your shoulder and you take a deep breath in, and then you take a deep breath out. Push. Breathe in, breathe out. And all this time, just focus on the sensation the change in your body, how the air is running through your fingers, how the air is coming in from to your nostril. Just feel it. Just the sensation part of feeling, not the judging part. Breathe in, breathe out. One last time. Breathe in, breathe out. Now come back to the standing. 1 minute. Okay, now to the left. Get ready. Breathe in, breathe out. Feeling the change in your body without judging. No expectation, no multitasking. Breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. In, breathe in, out. One last time. Breathe in, breathe out. Now come back. This is the last 1 minute standing meditation, one breath at a time. Okay, now we're going to skip the last one because I'm running out of time. I need to be. Venerable Hong is actually in town this week, and I need to finish and go down to be with him and record his Dharma talk. But it's important that we continue and meditate and actually do our loving kindness meditation, especially with monks in mind. And so this is also a blessing of the monks, and they are walking into a major storm. At least 10 states are now in the state of emergency. They're calling up their national guards. This is not going to be easy for them. But at the same time, I know they're determined, and this is who they are, right? And so I want you to sit back and see if you can push away all your negative energy, and just by focusing, that's all. If you focus, um, you automatically push away the negative energy. That's how wonderful it is, and that's why the monk says, you're not asking for peace. We're not hoping that someone will come out and give us peace. The peace is already in you. You are already capable of inner peace. And once you have inner peace, you have positive energy. And that positive energy is what you would use for the blessing. And so I want to come back and feel my breath, and I want you to focus on the lower part of your spine again and rise on your spine as you breathe in, and then lean back as you breathe out. Now, as you breathe in and you stretch your spine, you feel that positive energy in you. And I want you to think about the monks, think about all the beings, all the people who are in their presence, both physically and remotely. And I want you to feel a sense of gratitude. Be very grateful that they are here, they are walking among us, and they're showing us the way. So, this is when we want to practice gratitude. And then, as you lean back, I want you to follow the monks' teaching and let go of all your anxiety, let go of all your pain and suffering, and accept yourself as who you are. Accept that perhaps in the past you have done something that you're not happy with, that if you had a chance, you would do it better. But they were in the past. You gotta let that go. And so as you come down, I want you to practice acceptance. As you go up, practice your gratitude. When you get to the top of your head, pay attention to your eyelid. You actually see some light in front of you. Perhaps it's blocked by a lot of black clouds, but that's okay. Those black clouds will eventually go away. Just focus on that light. And then as you come down, focus on accepting yourself as who you are, forgiving yourself for some of the things that you didn't do right or you didn't do adequately, because that's all you could do. It's in the past. Let it go. As you practice your gratitude and your acceptance, you can move towards forgiveness. Forgiveness is not just about accepting someone else, um, someone else's problem or your own problem. It's also based on being grateful for what you have. However bad that you think you've been mistreated, there's still something left to be grateful of. So it's really the combination of being grateful and accepting who we are that we could practice forgiveness. We can forgive ourselves because we don't want to carry those baggages again. But then maybe we could forgive others, forgive some of the loved ones, forgive some of the neighbors, forgive some of the countrymen, forgive some of all the other beings, even those who have caused us pain. You can actually forgive without forget. You can still remember the lessons. You can remember the pain, but you can let go of the suffering. If you could practice gratitude, acceptance, forgiveness, then now you can practice loving kindness. You can wish loving kindness for yourself, wish that I'd be well, I'd be happy, I'd be peaceful. You can wish the same for your family, and may they be well, may they be happy, and may they be peaceful. You can wish the same for your neighbors and for your countrymen, especially those who are first responders who are here to protect us from natural disasters as is happening now in a big part of the country. You can wish them well, wish them health, Wish them happiness. Wish them peace. Let's do the chanting. It's called the Metta chanting, loving kindness chanting, giving positive energy to everyone, including the monks. May all beings be free from animosity and negative energy. Sabi May all beings be free from physical suffering. Sabi Sato Aloka May all beings be relieved of mental suffering. Sabi Sato May all beings be full of joy and protected with positive energy. Sabi Sato Suki Hatono Peri Arak You. May all beings be well, be happy, and be peaceful. Sabi Sato Suki Sabi Sato Suki Sabi Sato All right, may we all have a peaceful day. I'll see you all next week. Namaste. OK，星期一見或者晏啲見嚇。OK，拜拜。